everyone, I'm Ellie and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be working on my battle jacket for Karen Aijou from Revue Starlight. This is the jacket that most of the girls wear during the review scenes of this show, so it can be helpful for a lot of different characters. This jacket is super duper fun and very easy to make, so I hope you guys enjoy. Let's go ahead and get started. Like most of my other costumes, the first thing I did was create a pattern. I created this pattern by draping on my dress form. Since this piece of the costume isn't worn like a jacket, it acts more like a cape, I didn't have to create any fitting seams. I just simply had a side seam and a shoulder seam. Once I was happy with the way my pattern looked, I took it apart and then began to cut out my velvet material. Velvet can be very finicky when you work with it, so be careful and make sure you weigh it down properly so it won't slip and slide all over your table. It also is very susceptible to having lasting marks from when you use your pencil to mark out your pattern, so make sure you use something that will mark very easily and you don't have to press too hard. Once I had all my pieces cut from my velvet, I went ahead and cut them out of my lining material. I decided to use a red Dupioni since I already had it on hand and it was what I used for Karen's skirt. With my pieces cut out, I went ahead and put together the main body of the jacket by simply stitching up the side and the shoulder with a basic straight stitch. At this time, I put together both my velvet and my lining layer. Now at this point, I had this long pill white fur on hand and decided to try it out, but I ended up not liking it at all. So I instead went ahead and bought a short pill Sherpa, which is a very soft and plush fur. So now I'm going to be cutting out some bias tape from my Sherpa. This way it'll easily go around the curves of my jacket. Cutting fur is never easy, and I've never been able to figure out a way to stop it from shedding, so be sure that when you're cutting out your fur, you have a vacuum nearby, or at least one that you can use once you're finished. Otherwise, your room will be a mess of fur. With my bias tape cut out, I went ahead and pinned it onto my velvet layer of my jacket. I went around the entire perimeter of my jacket, pinning every couple inches, and then I went over that with a straight stitch. Since the fur is cut on the bias, it'll very easily go around these curves and I don't have to worry about it pulling or stretching out any of my velvet material. Now I'm going to move on to the fur on the sleeves. The battle jackets have this weird triangle of fur on the bottom of their sleeves. So to create this, I cut out the piece from my fur material, and then I went ahead and pinned one half of the triangle to my fabric and stitched that with a straight stitch. Now I can fold over the other half and hand stitch it. I could have hand stitched the entire triangle, but I wanted at least one side to be very sharp and to hold everything in place. Once the triangle is attached, I went ahead and added the fur band by simply pinning it along the bottom and attaching it with a straight stitch. Once it's attached, I can fold it over and it looks just like it should. Now with all my fur on my sleeves, I'm going to go ahead and stitch up my sleeves with a basic straight stitch. I stitched all 4 sleeves at this point so that way I can attach them to my jacket. Once the sleeves are finished, I'm going to attach them to my jacket by pinning them into the arm's eye. This is a very basic attachment of a sleeve. The only extra detail is this bit of tubing made out of some gold pleather. This is a decoration that they have in the anime, and I wanted to make sure that I added that detail on my jacket as well. Once the sleeves are in place, I inserted the lining into my fashion layer, and now I'm going to go around and fold over my fur and blind stitch that by hand. Blind stitching fur is kind of a pain in the butt. Since the fur has such a wide weave, it can be really hard to actually catch the material, and it's even harder to know if you're catching the material or if you're just catching some of the fur. So I had to make sure I made lots of itty bitty stitches and made sure I really got into that fur. After that, I was able to finish off that gold tubing. I attached the bottom edge flush to my jacket, and then on the top edge, I attached it with a little bit of extra material so it'll poof out a bit by the shoulder. This is how the design looks in the anime, so it's simply something that I was copying from them. Once I had attached these pieces, I also attached one of my golden star buttons as well. The last thing to do on the jacket is to add the trim that goes all the way around the edges. I simply bought this trim from Joann's and I'm attaching it with a hand stitch. After attaching your trim, we just need to attach our golden star button as well as our thick cording to go around your neck. And with that, the jacket is finished. I think this project turned out absolutely beautiful. I love the way it feels when I wear it, and I think it looks really cool when you're moving around. One final tip that I have is in order to make this jacket stay on, I inserted 2 magnets into the shoulder seam and also put matching magnets onto my jacket. That way I can just simply magnet the jacket onto my shoulder and don't have any worries about it moving around as I am moving or dancing. In the end, I think this jacket turned out really cute, and I think it looks perfect with the rest of the costume. Let me know if this video was helpful for you, and if you end up making one of these jackets on your own, I would love to see how it turns out. As always, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Keep sewing, stay positive, and have fun. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!